Alrighty, and we're on.
Let's go.
Yeah, so just like that. Jake O'Driscoll, I'm just going to take my shoes off so I can get more comfy myself.
Comfy, man. It's nice here on the couch. It's good.
So, obviously, well, when this episode drops, it'll be post-Subversion, but
Yes.
we're actually, you're in town because you have Subversion on tomorrow night.
Yep.
And it's a good opportunity to obviously catch up with you and, got a role in at Sydney Wrestling Academy earlier today and dropped in to see the guys, so that was cool as well.
Yeah, it was good, man. Good to get a sweat before the event and see Ali and Lucas and catch up with them before we get to compete, which is always nice. So.
Yep. And I guess, to sort of, and I do want to touch on the Jiu Jitsu journey, but let's sort of bring it all back so people can sort of get a bit more of a holistic view of you, right?
Yep.
So where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I've always been in Perth. Grew up in a little suburb called Belmont. Used to be a little bit like the ghetto, not so much anymore, but if you come to Perth, people will still say it's a bit rough. But yeah, I grew up in Perth, always been in Perth, man. I've been lucky enough to travel all over the world with Jiu Jitsu. Lived in a couple of different places, which is nice. Not for long periods of time, just months at a time. But always been in Australia, man. I'll never leave Perth. I love it. My family's there. My daughter is born and she's growing up there, and my gym is there. So yeah, I love it over on the West Coast, man. It's nice.
How old's your daughter now?
She's 7, nearly 8, but yeah, she acts like she's 18. She's sassy as, and she's got a bit of attitude. So but she's great, man. She's nice.
Where do you think that attitude comes from?
Oh, her mum. I spend a lot of time with her, man, and she spends a lot of time in the gym. She spends a lot of time around adults. Like, she definitely socializes with a lot of kids, but she's definitely spent most of her life in the gym and creating relationships like that. So she's very intelligent in terms of how she communicates and how she picks up on little things. So. She's very much like she likes to watch and listen, and then she'll take on board what she needs to take on board. So I think just the way me and her banter a lot, that's where she gets a bit of an attitude from, but not in a bad way, man. That's the thing we're talking about a lot with my daughter is we actually never really have to tell her off. It's only for little things like she doesn't eat fast enough or doesn't put her shoes on fast enough. It's
Sounds
never
like my 7-year-old.
Yeah, it's never like she's drawn on walls or she's naughty at school or anything, or like even when she's at different sports, she's always listening to the coaches and stuff. She just talks a lot though. She would talk non-stop. So once she opens up, it's like you got to give her talking time out sometimes just to get her to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to her always being in the gym, is she training at the moment? Or?
Yeah. So she trains. She's trained since she's 2 years old. Never force her. So her mother and I are separated. So we have 50-50 custody now. I had her full time for quite a while, but I never force her to go. I always ask her, you going to jiu-jitsu tonight? Yep. But she just sees what like myself, like I do, and what Bam Bam does, and we just she just follows suit, and she understands a lot about like health at such a young age, about like what's healthy and what's not. I have to push her to have takeaway. Like she won't want to eat McDonald's because it's not healthy, and I'm like, you're 7, like. Everything's healthy to you. Like you're gonna burn it off, you're fine. But she's real good like that. So I never want to push her to compete. I don't think she ever wants to compete. She's never even brought it up. But she definitely has to train to learn to defend herself, especially in this kind of world.
Yep.
But yeah, it's never a thing where it's like, no, you have to go. She's done a few other sports where if we always make sure that she finishes the term or the season. So if she doesn't want to continue, and it's week 3, well, she has to finish the term. There's no if, buts, or maybes. But if at the end of the term or the end of the season she doesn't want to do it, sweet, we'll stop. We'll do something else. So she understands that really well too. She follows through with what she puts signs up for, and then but jiu-jitsu has always been a constant.
Yeah, it's a funny one, right? Like I was saying to some of the guys in the gym the other day, it's like I don't want to give my kids I don't want to force them to love it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give them a reason to hate it.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like if you're always sacrificing your time with them so that you can go and do the things that you enjoy, they could probably associate that negatively, like they have to compete with jiu-jitsu or martial arts for your attention. Yeah. When it shouldn't feel like that.
No, so I just try and do subconsciously a lot of that. If she's on school holidays and I still have to train, obviously, I'll make sure we do something after that or do something before that, like Dad's working, but then we can do something, It's not like I don't care what you're like just because you're not at school, we don't get to spend time together. I do a lot of that. But also like I spent some time with Wagner Hoscher and had this conversation with him because obviously his kids now are, Jasmine just won trials, a couple of days ago, and Achilles is coming up there. And I just asked him, like, how did you get them to where they are now and whatnot? And he has an interesting take on it. He said that, when they were younger, he didn't force it. He would just bring them to the gym. They had to come to the gym, and they might do 10 minutes, they might do 20 minutes, they might do the whole class. Every day was different, but he never forced it, right? But then when they got to that age where it was like, okay, are you going to start to compete or do these things? He would give his attention to the other kids, not his kids. So he'd be like, so-and-so and so-and-so, you guys have to compete this weekend, blah, blah, blah. But Jasmine, you can sit out. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, and then Jasmine would be like, no, but I want to do that. Like, I want to get involved, And then if you talk to Jasmine and Achilles, they're very much like that too. They're like, yeah, we hated it until one day it clicked and then it turned over. So Wagner was talking about how he built that base with them so that if they ever wanted to continue, they already had a good foundation, but it wasn't a forced foundation. It was like, this is what mum and dad do, and you can do it if you want, but if not, it's all good. But when they decided, yeah, I want to, it was already there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good take because it's very much like he's not forcing them, but he is also showing them how important it is to his life and the family's life and things like that. But they made their own decisions.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a nice way to approach it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then so for you, like, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got an older sister and 2 younger half brothers. None of them train.
None of them train.
No.
So you're the anomaly.
Yeah, it's only me. So I was more like definitely in my family, like the more sporting type. I did a lot of sports growing up, played a lot of different sports and things like that, and a lot of my life was sport. And then my family, I got a big family, and they're all very athletic, but none of them really pursued any sport at a high level. They just went and did their own thing. So, yeah.
And then so an older sister, so same parents, and then the half. Yeah,
so
brothers.
My mum and dad, I've got my older sister, and then my dad remarried, and I've got 2 younger brothers with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's the relationship like with the half brothers?
Good. Yeah, good. They're at an age now where we can actually like talk and catch up and text, and they've been in the gym a couple of times and they've trained a couple of times, but they like to lift weights and things like that. They're I think Christian's 22 or 23 and Brandon's 18 or 19. So like they're at that age now where like I can actually have conversations with them that aren't like, treating them like kids, which is really good. Growing up is obviously a little bit different because the age gap, and then they were in high school and I was, becoming an adult and things like that. But now it's a lot better, so it's good, and we have a good bond. So
yep. Yeah. Was that situation when your dad remarried? Was that ever a difficult one, or?
Yeah. So dad left when I was born, so I actually didn't grow up with my dad.
Oh shit.
My dad left when I was born, and he moved to China with his wife now, and I didn't see them for 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. He'd come back a couple of times and we'd spend a day or a weekend with him in that, but not like periods of time. Mum and dad don't have a good relationship, never have since the split, but we still see dad's side of the family. Mum still sees dad's side of the family, is quite close with them. It is an interesting dynamic, but for me it's like it's hard for me to, like, I'm trying to teach my daughter what I believe is the best way to become a good person and do right in this world and things like that. And if I don't set the example, how can I expect her to follow?
Yeah.
So like if I just hate my dad or hate so-and-so because they did this or that or blah, 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 it's not setting a good example. And I'm just using energy that the wrong place, So like my dad and I would say we're good friends in that. Like we talk and we see each other and there's no animosity or anything like that. Definitely closer with my mum because I grew up with her. But yeah, I just don't worry about that kind of thing, man. I'm pretty laid back.
Did for you, like when you say there's no animosity, like did that take time to reconcile that?
I think
because it's
yes and no, man. I think when I was so much younger, like I know we'll probably touch on it. Like I suffer from some mental health stuff, and I'm very open about talking about it. It's one of the reasons I pursue Jiu Jitsu at a high level is to help people with their mental health. But I think I've had mental health problems basically my whole life, and I didn't know. And I come from a different background. I come from a different group of friends. I come from a different period where like that kind of stuff is taboo. You don't talk about that stuff. So I just dealt with it the way I thought was the best way to deal with it. So when I was growing up, there was a lot of anger and there was a lot of resentment and there was a lot of, okay, I'm going to deal with things by fighting. That's what we do. That's how, like,
how it expresses itself.
Exactly, And then when I started to learn more and understand mental health more and understand some of the things that I go through and what other people go through, I started to understand that I didn't need that, you know, and I don't need to be like that. So once it was a lot easier then to be like, okay, like it's not a big deal, it's fine, you know. Whereas growing up, it was all a lot of anger and a lot of just, but everything, you know, not little situations all the time, you know. It's just. Yeah.
Was it fighting it with like friends at school and things like that, or?
Yeah, kind of, man. So yeah, I had friends at school. Like we had a pretty a school group that was definitely a bit boisterous, I would say. And then I played football at a pretty good level, so that was also like the culture at football is very much like that, man. You know, you train all week, you play on the weekend, you go out, you have drinks, and then, you know, boys will be boys kind of thing. And yeah, just another friend group that I grew up with is just a little bit different to what everyone else would grow up with, man. And you just it's different. You know, it's different.
Different in what way? Like rough group or?
Yeah. I mean, without saying too much, man, just for their own safety. They're just not people that like, I guess, normal civilized people would associate with. You know what I mean? They're what society would view as like, you know, the bad kind of society, which I don't agree with because I know them.
They're still got this. Yeah, they can be good people in
100%. You know what I mean? But like because they wear a certain patch or they wear a certain, you know, vest or whatever it is, they're deemed this and that. And it's just one of those things that I know different, but they're my friends. I grew up with them. So it's okay for me. But for like that time period, it's different. You know, I'm not going to go to them and be like, oh man, I'm sad because, you know, this happened and, you know, I'm feeling this and blah, blah, blah. You're just like, I'm sad. No, fucking man up. And it's like, no, that's not the way.
Have a teaspoon of concrete.
Exactly. You know, and then like all those cultures, you know, like not just cultures, but growing up with not my dad there and just having my granddad. And then the football culture is very much like that. And then this friend group is very much like that. That's all I knew. So at the moment, like even now I'm turning nearly 33, it's taken me years and years to relearn those habits and relearn those thought processes that, you know, it doesn't have to be like that, you know. And that's one thing I think I help a lot with jiu-jitsu, especially people that know me or reach out to me, is like, because I get to verse some of the best guys in the world and travel and compete, like I know I'm tough. I don't have to prove I'm tough. You know, I've fought some of the best guys around. So I can, when I give that message, people in our community can understand that it's coming from a place that, yeah, he knows what he's talking about because he does those things, you know. So that's what I think my purpose with jiu-jitsu is, man, is to actually help people with their mental health and use jiu-jitsu as not a distraction, but an opportunity to help you get healthier. Because I think if you distract yourself with jiu-jitsu, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, so you're running from the problem.
Yeah, and I did that for a long time too, man. A long time too, just was like, oh, I'll just keep competing and I'll just keep training as hard as I can. I'll keep doing this and I'll be fine. I'll get over it. But that you burn out pretty fast doing that kind of thing, man.
Yeah. I think, you know, at all stages, like you have to come to that point where you got to be able to look at your own reflection in the mirror.
Yeah.
And take stock and be like, okay, I actually fucking hate myself, or do I actually have some love for myself?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And, you know, speaking on the mental health side of things, like I've spoken about this many a time, but like my mum went through some mental health struggles, right?
Yeah.
And in Asian culture, you know, just like, you know, growing up in the football culture, it's like two totally different worlds, right?
Yeah.
But like there is no such thing as mental health in Asian society.
Yeah.
Right? Like Asians are too proud for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like I think part of the reasons why, you know, you can hang shit on a lot of Asians and they don't really bite back is because like the way that they bite back is then just using that as fuel to like study harder.
Yeah.
Right? And being stronger academically. Like you come from a different country and like back in the days, like, you know, you get called a gook or a chink or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And the way Asians would take that is like, okay, me as the parent, I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to be really strong academically.
Yeah.
So that they can have stable jobs and, you know, good careers and get all the things that they didn't have coming to the country.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, that's sort of, you know, I guess when most people think about Asians, like they always think about, oh, they're good at math and they're good at this and they're good at that. Like they associate that with it. Right.
Yeah.
But that's just how like Asian parents are. Like I've talked about this, how, you know, my parents, when they came to Australia, like they just basically ran their own businesses. They worked all the time. And it sort of turned me off, like wanting to run my own things because I was just like, we're eating dinner at like 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. Right now I'm trying to eat dinner with my kids, like, you know, 5:30, 6 p.m. in the evening if I can.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Just a totally different lifestyle.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
But I'm fortunate that I can experience that.
100%. Yeah. So we very similar with my parents. So mum worked multiple jobs growing up. We moved so many times, and but I never had I never went without. You know, I never remember a time when I didn't have something that I wanted or what another kid had, or, you know, she always provided. Whereas I'd say my dad, you know, was probably on the other scale. You know, they've got a bit of money, and they, you know, they have nice things and whatnot. So I was able to see both sides and, you know, take from both sides in terms of like what I wanted and what I wanted to pass on to my daughter now and things like that. And like, it's funny because I own my own business and I run my own business, and money is, you know, makes the world go round or whatever. But for me, it's not
the biggest thing.
Like, as long as my bills are paid, man, and my girls are looked after, and, you know, if they want something or need something, like, I can provide for it, man, I don't even care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I probably got the same, you know, someone will probably see me in the same pants that I wore 5 Subversions ago. You know, it doesn't bother me. Like, as long as they're not ratty and look like terrible, that, you know, like, it doesn't bother me, man. It really doesn't. So, like, I was very fortunate in that regard. Like, I could see both sides, you know, and then I could, you know, I'm never wanting, because I know I can see what it's like to have a bit of money, and I can also see what it's like to have nothing. So for me, I can survive in both. So it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah. So then, for you, like, when it came to schooling and things like that, like, what was your school life like? So in primary school, what did the teachers say about you? And then
pretty much, man. Like, I did really well in school, like, not in an arrogant way. Like, I always pretty focused, because for me, man, like, mentality is everything. And like, I used to fuel myself by wanting to appease others, obviously parents, grandparents, etc. And that's what I did with sport and academics. And then it grew into, I just care about what I think and not what anyone else thinks, you know. So school was, I love school, man. I would go back to school now if I could. I loved my friends. I loved hanging out. I loved learning, you know, loved doing sport all the time. I went to 2 nice schools. I went to a school near my house when I was young, and then I went to a Catholic school when I was in high school, which I really enjoyed. And then from there, like, I was accepted to university, but I never ended up going. I ended up doing Jiu Jitsu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't end up going to uni.
So what did you apply for? Like, what course were you thinking about doing?
I was going to do sports science. Yeah, I was just going to do sports science. So I was playing football in the WAFL, which is the West Australian Football League. I was playing Colts at the time, and like every 17, 18-year-old, you think you're going to get drafted, and, you know, I thought I was going to get drafted and just play football for the rest of my life. So
sorry, which code of football?
AFL.
Yeah,
AFL,
okay.
Yeah. So I thought
we're on the East Coast here,
sorry,
so NRL is typically
AFL. So, so playing like state league and playing like their under 18s kind of thing, and like, that's where I thought I was going to do. So I had like a year of like bridging where I was playing football and just going to TAFE so that I could play football full time, because at that level it is full time. It's like you have to train 7 days a week. You're at the club all the time. Like, so I didn't end up going to university, and at the time, you know, it was a big deal. Like, my parent, like my mum, definitely my dad. My dad had, has got a few master's degrees and stuff, so he thinks that anything that doesn't come out of university is a failure. Like, really? I don't think he thinks like that anymore, but he definitely at the time was very much like uni or nothing. And then mum was a bit more laid back with it, but she thought I was going to play football. So, when I didn't go to uni, it's still one of the things I tell the young kids. I say young kids, but I tell the kids in the gym today, like, I didn't have a plan B, man. Everything I did was to get to where I am right now. You know, I don't have a trade. I don't have a degree. I've worked jobs just to get where I am, like, no, like, jobs that have career progression or anything like that. I pretty much put everything into what I'm doing now, which I don't recommend. Like, if I had to say that to my daughter, I wouldn't recommend it. But I also just think that, like, I just wanted it so bad, and then I don't see it not working.
Yeah. Well, I often say that, you know, when your back is against the wall, like, when you have no other option, you're going to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And it's a double-edged sword. Like, I don't necessarily promote this as the way to go for any aspiring athlete out there. I wouldn't say go and give everything up and go and chase that, because you still need to prepare yourself for a life after. You know, so if you're an athlete and you put everything into being an athlete and you have zero left over for after, well, what are you going to do when you can no longer participate in that sport?
Yeah,
like, your
100%.
life is going to sort of start to lose a bit of meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think, you know, it's really important that you have to have not necessarily a balanced perspective, but a perspective in the sense that, okay, you can be, if you want to be an athlete, be an athlete.
Yes.
Right? But then what is your plan for post,
Yep.
the athletic career? Are you going to move into coaching?
Yeah.
Are you going to be in a totally different industry?
Yeah. See, but people, especially in jiu-jitsu, people think that, they just move into opening a gym and coaching and it's all, rainbows and lollipops and stuff. It's difficult, man. It's not an easy gig. And like running a business, whatever business is not easy. It's stressful all the time, and this is one thing that is like people don't get. They're like, oh, you just train twice a day. And I'm like, you got no idea. I work 24/7 because my phone is on 24/7 because if something happens with a business, I have to be available. I have to talk to people. I have to always be professional with it, So like it's one of those things that it's just constant. It's constant, yeah.
Yeah. So then let's digress. I want to sort of pick up on that vein a little bit and talk about how you started Essence.
Yep.
So obviously you were coaching previous to that, right?
Yep.
And what was the catalyst for you to go and say, okay, I'm going to start my own thing?
I always wanted to start a gym, but I wanted to start a gym. So with Ava's mum, we had a house and like we lived as a family and stuff. I always wanted to start a gym when I knew that if it failed, they would be okay and they would be safe because I didn't want my failure to negatively affect them. So that was always my goal. So I was just coaching, like getting my skill level up so I could feel like I could coach to anybody and getting that experience and whatnot. And funnily enough, man, I just got an opportunity. One of my mates at the time had a CrossFit gym. He wanted to move to a bigger spot, but the money was a bit tight. So he was like, what if I rent you some space? And then it was supposed to be 100 square meters, ended up being 48 square meters, which is nothing. But the rent was super cheap. So I was working full time at the time. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like worst case, I get 5 members. I've got a place to train 24/7 whenever I want. Don't have to answer to anybody and it'll be all good. So I started Essence with that. And then about 6 months in, I got made redundant at my job. They cancelled the role. I was working in the supplement industry as a sales rep.
Yep.
And they just cancelled the gig, so I got made redundant. And then I was talking to one of my mates who runs, he's quite big in the fitness industry, and I was like, man, like, what do I do? And he's like, bro, you got to make a choice. You either go all in and see what happens, or you go and get another job, which we can get you another job, and you just wonder. And I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm going all in. So I went all in, and then 6 months later, I opened my own spot with Essence, and it just grew from there, man. So to be fair, like it was always the plan, but it came about way quicker than what I thought it was going to.
Yeah. And then, when you achieve something like that, like let's say, and I'm talking about like, you started your own thing, you got your own space and all that, and you open the doors and you get some members and it's like, oh, this is actually, things are starting to work out.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, now what?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's probably, I'm a lot better at it now. I used to be really bad, man. I used to never be able to even, appreciate my achievements or anything because it was always what's next.
Yeah.
Now I do try and stop and smell the roses a little bit, not because I feel like it's coming to an end or whatnot. It's just like, man, I want to enjoy everything that I'm doing. I want to enjoy the people around me. I want to enjoy the experiences. I want to make these memories. So with Essence, I still pinch myself all the time, man. Like the people in there, they're such great people. I get to coach to these people. I do get to do jiu-jitsu every day. And then, some days it's hard and some days you don't want to be there and whatnot. And then I'm just like, man, I get to do what I love every single day, and a lot of people don't get to do that. And then thankfully I get to make money doing it too. You know what I mean? Like I only work at Essence. I don't do anything else. I have other revenue streams, outside of Essence, but in terms of like my wage and things like that, it comes from the gym. So like I'm very lucky in that regard. But when I say lucky, it's like it was very hard working too. I put a lot of effort and time into doing that, and I did it myself. Like everything I did for Essence was me. Like I put the money in, I built the gym. Like, no, I didn't build the gym. I got a lot of tradies. Shout out to them, that helped a lot. But what I mean is like my parents didn't give me money, or like when we went through COVID, we didn't get any grants from the government or anything like that. Yeah. So like it's very, I look at that and I'm like, that makes me proud, that I was able to do that. But again, it's because of the guys and girls we have in them, and they're amazing. So
yeah. And then what was the inspiration for the name?
Bro, it literally so the name and the logo, the name was just literally something just popped into my head one day in Essence, which is really bad because I do it all the time, usually with tattoos. One of my best mates is a tattooist. So like I have so many random tattoos because I'll be like, hey man, what are you doing? Can you do this? And you're like, yeah, sweet. So my first ever tattoo was just a random one. And then Essence was random. And then I went on Fiverr at the time when it used to actually be $5, like not like it is now. Yeah. And just hit someone up and they did like 10 logos for $5 and I picked the one we got now and it's good. So like,
that was it.
Yeah, it was literally, again, coincidence, man. I was drawing trying to draw my own logos and not really thinking about it. I don't know where Essence came from. I don't have an origin story for it, man. It would just popped into my head. And then when I was with Ava's mum, like I was like, what do you think of this? And she's like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, all right, let's do that. Like, and then now we can draw meaning from it and stuff and we do a lot. But at the time, man, that's just what it was. So
yeah, wow. And then learnings along the way. You know, starting your own business is obviously it can be daunting for a lot of people, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And then when you start, obviously you start to realize, oh shit, I got to do this, I got to do that.
Yeah.
I guess, is there any sort of like learnings you can share from your own little journey?
Yeah, man. I'm a big believer in like asking for help or like searching for knowledge. So for me, like if I don't know something, like I'll ask. So I don't know if you saw me today, like I asked Lucas about one of my best positions. Yeah, because I want to see what he does. Like I want to know what he does. And I could look at it and be like, that's awesome, I want to do that. Or I could look at it and be like, nah, it's not for me. And I'd be like, I don't know. Like I've got no ego about like asking for help. So for me, it's like, okay, if I don't know this, I'm going to ask someone. I'm going to put my hand up and be like, hey, who knows about this? Can you teach me? Can you show me what it is? Like, and learn from that. So that's one big thing, man. It's just try not to take everything on and be okay with like asking for help. And when you get people around you that are supportive and they love you and they want to help you, man, look after those people. Yeah, because they're the essence of what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, and the same friend that told me about going all in, he gave me the same piece of advice 6 years ago about building the gym. And I was asking about Facebook marketing and ads and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, bro, the best way to build your gym is from the inside. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, invest in the people in the gym and you'll create a culture and a community that people will want to be involved in. And you'll get member retention and people will want to be there. Man, I've probably spent under $10 on Facebook ads and marketing in 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah. And like everything's word of mouth. I do our own Facebook and Instagram, which is just social like posts and stories and stuff like that. And whenever we can, like shouting out and things like that. And, you know, we've built a gym that's produced world champions and we've produced a gym that's, I just gave a black belt to a guy 67 years old that trains more than most of the kids at the gym. Like it's like we've got this environment that's just different to everybody everywhere else. And I think it's because we invest in the people inside.
Yeah.
You know, I never worry about like who's doing what outside or, you know, if people leave, that's fine. Our gym's not for everybody. You know, there's no hard feelings. But if you don't want to be here, then we don't want you here. It's fine. You know, it's okay with us. You know, you want to come back? Come back. It's all good.
Yeah.
But, like there's no animosity in that regard, man. It just is what it is. So like I think those two things, asking for help, searching for knowledge, similar principle, and then you know, investing in the people around you is the most important thing.
Yeah. The culture piece is overlooked in so many aspects of life. You know, whether it's running a business, whether it's gym culture, whether it's, you know, even the people that you surround yourself with, like your friendship group has a certain culture that gets established in it.
Yes.
And so a lot of people just, you know, don't really pay attention to it. And if you're lucky and you go into a good place, well, you know, that's lucky for you, right? Yeah. But then on the flip side, if you end up in a negative situation and then you got to start, you know, questioning yourself, like, why am I still involving myself in these negative situations, right?
And we've had that, man. We've had like groups in the gym that, you know, probably didn't fit there and they stayed there a bit longer than they should have. And, you know, it's all a learning curve. But, and then you have the guys that started at the gym and then, you know, they get a lot of new people in and they used to just having a small group and now there's a big group and now you're going to deal with that as well. And it's just an evolving process, man. But I feel like we've got a really good mix now. You know, the coaches and the students and the competitors and the hobbyists, they all, like, it's amazing. We've got a great women's program. You know, our kids program is the one that lacks the most, and not because of the coaches, they're amazing. But we don't put a lot of time and effort into building the kids program just because we don't have a huge gym at the moment. And I feel like when I do go all in on the kids program, I want to put a lot of oomph into it. So that's kind of like an ace up the sleeve for down the track.
Yep.
So like 90% of our member base is adults.
Wow.
Whereas for a gym,
a lot of it's kids, right?
Yeah, especially from business. My accountant hates me thinks I should be doing the opposite, but I'm like, you stick with numbers, I'll stick with people. It's all good. But, you know, that's one thing, like for a gym to be as big or as successful as ours, based mostly on adults, is pretty rare, you know.
Have you, and in terms of your coaching staff, like have you grown most of those athletes? They've been people that have been with you?
Let me think. I don't think one of my coaches hasn't come from me from white or blue belt to where they are now. And I think it's super important, man. Like not that I wouldn't we just got a female kids coach. She's come across as a purple belt. But all the other coaches, they've started with me in that. And I think it's really important because one thing I try and do with the coaches and the people in the gym is like, so Ryan's here with us today. He's flown over to help us out. He wants to own his own gym one day.
Yep.
So my role as his coach is not just to teach him jiu-jitsu. It's to show him how he can open his own gym and be successful doing that. Because he's got a family that I love. You know, his wife is amazing. He's got 2 young kids. They come to the gym. I want to see him succeed.
Yep.
So I don't see it as like one day he's going to leave me and open his own gym.
Yeah.
I see it as good.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, good. Yeah. One day he's going to leave me
and
he's going to open his own gym and get an opportunity that I got. So one thing I try and do is mentor the coaches, not just in how you teach technique, but how you deal with people, how you deal with different personalities, where you stand, why you stand there, how I teach to certain groups, why I change things, why I do certain things, because, you know, that's a huge part. If you just got jiu-jitsu technique and you run in and you teach a class, no sweat. Try teaching, 30, 40 classes a week to the same people. You know, it gets tiring and they get bored of what you're teaching and you got to keep it all the time.
Fresh, yeah.
But then also I'm teaching a black belt and day one white belts. So how do I make sure that everybody in the room is learning and things like that? There's a lot of nuances to it. So that's one thing I love to do with the coaches is just kind of like help them out in that regard. So if they ever do want to open their own gym, you know, they can have that opportunity and do that, you know?
Yeah. And I think that mentality then fosters loyalty. You don't have to enforce the loyalty.
Yeah.
They are happy to support you because they know that you're giving them
Yep.
in terms of the value exchange, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a value exchange there that they're feeling like, okay, I need to be loyal to, I feel like I want to be loyal to Jake.
Yes.
Because he's providing me with such great value.
Yep.
Right. It's a funny one because like the loyalty thing gets thrown around so much in all martial arts.
Yes.
Right. But then like if you're paying your gym fees, then like the loyalty equation is gym fees equals you getting taught specific, to the sport.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not paying gym fees, okay, maybe a different story. There's a different loyalty that's driven as a result of that, right?
Yeah.
And that might be because, perhaps they're coaching or whatever.
Yeah.
But the hard thing that often comes up with that is that things can get messy very quickly.
Yeah.
And so, I think, nowadays I think more gyms like to keep it sort of clear cut in the sense of your gym fees are your gym fees, but your coaching fees are your coaching fees. Like,
we do that, man. So everyone in the gym pays.
Yeah.
Everyone in the gym pays. And like I said, we got guys, Peaches is here fighting Dave Stoll tomorrow. Adele is here. She's fighting for the title on Subversion tomorrow. When they train, like Adele's in Melbourne now, but, they pay membership. And they know it's not because I want their money.
Yeah.
Because I still make minimum wage. I'm not taking their money.
Yeah.
It's because everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we make sure that that's, and not an emphasis because we don't talk about it all the time, but it is something that is a priority for us because everybody needs to feel comfortable. Not just like we have a saying, and I spoke about this on the podcast I did before, like if the only thing you bring to the team is good jiu-jitsu, we don't want you. Whatever. Good jiu-jitsu is good jiu-jitsu. We want good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like someone that thinks they're better than someone else because of their jiu-jitsu, okay, they might not be a problem today, but in 6 months from now, they might be a problem. You know what I mean? So we stamp that shit out like early. You know what I mean? And we say it all the time, and we get a lot of visitors. We get a lot of high-level athletes in the gym, a lot of cross-training. My guys and girls can cross-train wherever they want, whenever they want. Don't have to ask me. If I see them in a gym picture, good. Glad you're training. Don't bother me. But like if you decide to stay with us and train with us, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no hierarchy in that regard. I know I own the gym, so there's obviously a hierarchy there in terms of decision making. But I'll do the same things they do. I'll do the same training. I'll do the same cleaning. I'll speak to people the same way. I'll, apologize if I need to apologize if I've said something wrong or I lost my temper or not lost my temper, but like maybe a joke didn't get put across the way I thought it was going to get put across or something like that, or whatnot. And that's important, man. My daughter's 7. She mops the mats quicker than anyone else, and she doesn't have to be told. she'll just go and do it because she knows that's what we do.
Yeah.
So it goes across the board, man. I'm not a big believer, but I'm not a big fan of the word family in jiu-jitsu or martial arts.
Yeah.
Because family's different, man. Family for me is different. But like as close as you can possibly get, I feel like that's what we have. You know, we have that where people will always stand up for the person next to them and they want to help the person next to them, which is the most important thing.
Yep.
Which is hard to create over a long period of time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't like using the word family, and there's a reason for that. Because this used to come up in the dealerships that I would work with in previously, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, like there's plenty of managers that would be like, oh, we're like one big family here, and I'm like, no, we're not a family.
No, we're not.
Because a family would mean that I love you no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The difference is we're more like a team.
Yes.
I need to hold you accountable. Yes, I'm invested in your future.
Yeah.
And I'm invested in what you do.
Yeah.
But if your shit ain't right, I'll hold you accountable for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Whereas with family, it's like if my daughter doesn't pick up her socks and put them in the laundry, I end up fucking throwing them in the laundry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If my son, does whatever or needs me to wipe his ass, I'm gonna wipe his ass.
Yeah.
Right? But as a team member, I ain't wiping your
No,
ass.
exactly.
You gotta learn to wipe your own ass.
Yeah, exactly. And we have that too, man. Like I know my guys will do whatever they can to help and whatnot. But yeah, family's always different. I just never, and then, like you said, you touched on the loyalty thing, man. It's like you still have today, like people can't be in team photos or cross train, and I'm like, man, what are you doing, man? Like it's not a big deal because the other thing as well is like there's nothing worse for a gym if the people don't want to be there anyway.
Yeah.
Like one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. And like, I truly believe that, you know what I mean? Like sometimes we've had people in the past that we've had to ask to leave and whatnot. And I didn't see a problem with them, man, but other people did. And then as soon as they left, boom, the whole gym's different. I'm like, okay, maybe there was something there that I wasn't seeing,
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, if that was my family, I wouldn't be booting him out.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be kicking that guy out.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd be like, no, you're
no,
fine.
he's good, like, no, so yeah, I'm with you on that one, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Okay, so when it came to, after high school, like you got into uni, but then you decided not to pursue it.
Yep.
So then you went straight into jiu-jitsu from there, or
no? So kind of. So I was playing football,
Yep.
And then I thought I was going to get drafted. Didn't get drafted. So the feedback was you weren't fit enough, which I know now is just a cop out. That's just a nice way of saying like you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
So, but at
AFL, aren't most AFL guys tall?
this is the problem, right?
Okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I was fast. Yeah, I ran a 10.6 over the 100 meters.
Okay.
Like I could run.
Yeah.
But I'm not that tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially from like, I know for sure I couldn't play in the AFL now because I'm just not that big.
Most of them are like over 6, right?
Yeah. They're tall guys. So, but at the time, obviously, you're 18 years old, 19 years old. So you're like, all right, I'm just got to get fitter. So we hired a personal private boxing coach. I started boxing. Boxing's good for fitness.
Yep.
And then he was like, we were boxing one day and there's some guys rolling around no-gi. And actually, Brian Ebersol's main student or one of his best students, Ramel Luistro.
Shout out to Ramel.
Yeah, Ramel Luistro, yeah. So he was my first coach. So
no way.
Yeah, he was like, go and roll with those guys. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. And he's like, no, it'll really help your fitness, it'll help your tackling, whatever. Ramel was a purple belt at the time, probably the longest purple belt in history. But he's got his black belt now, so that's all good. But rolled with them and got smashed and then signed up for classes instantly and was like, I quit football instantly.
Yeah.
And my family and everyone around me was really angry about that because they're like, you're quitting because you didn't get drafted and that's a bad mindset. But I was like, no, I can do like this. I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like I knew straight away. I knew instantly. And like, it's funny, you get those Facebook memories pop up literally from 2010, 2011 when I started around that time. It's still like motivating quotes as if like I was where I am today. Like I was the same thing, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. Now my family are like, yeah, we knew you were going to do it. Like, well, no, you didn't.
The story's changed.
You were picking on me and everything. But so I just went straight into jiu-jitsu, man, basically full time straight away. Competed as much as I could, as often as I could, traveled as much as I could, as early as I could. Just worked odd jobs, man, worked security a lot and then supplement stores. My dad was quite big in the supplement industry when it first kicked off in Australia. He was one of the main guys that actually brought supplements to Australia. So
like protein powders and
stuff. So like BSN was probably the main brand back then and Gaspari and some others. And he was part of the distribution company that brought brought them over. So like I would work in the warehouse, and then I'd work in the gym, and then I'd work in the store, and et cetera, et cetera. So anything I could do to work around my training hours, and do that. And then
so how much were you training when you first started? So
oh man, this is what I tell kids. Like I say kids, I'm still young, but I tell these guys, man, we'd had class Tuesday and Thursday. That's it. Like you got 2 classes a week, and that was it. But then luckily enough, like same thing. I met he's actually one of my black belts now. He's still one of my best friends. Chris Parfit. He's my strength coach. He's amazing. I met him at one of the gyms we were cross training at, and he was around my size, and we're like, let's just train together as much as possible. And then we're training together, and then I ended up going to America for a while, and I was renting a house. I moved out pretty young, and I was renting a house, and obviously didn't want to pay rent when I was going to go to America for 6 months. So Chris was like, bro, he owned his house. He's like, just move your stuff into my house and don't pay anything. And then when you get back, like you can live here. And then he only charged me like $100 a week or something to live at his house. Yeah, something crazy.
Love deal.
Yeah, and then we just train in the garage all the time, man. We bought mats, put them in the garage, just me and him training. And then we got another guy, Dadao. So there's 3 of us. Dadao is one of my black belts now too, it's full circle now. Like they're both black belts under me. And we just train together all the time, man. So then we started training a lot more. But in terms of classes, it was like 2 a week. And then we try and follow our coaches around wherever they were training at. So like try and get 3, 4, 5 a week. And then it just went from there, man. When it became a bit more mainstream, then I'll do it in the morning and night, or I'll try and skip out at lunchtime and do a night class. But it was pretty consistent. Like I've never had more than 2 weeks not doing jiu-jitsu since I started. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been real consistent. Yeah.
So then when you said you went overseas for 6 months, was that for jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So I ended up meeting a guy called Admar Barboza, absolute legend of the sport. Beat Cron Gracie, beat Gregor Gracie. He's beat a lot of guys. He fought the who's who. Definitely more of a gi guy. 2010s-ish, around that era was his era. But he came over for a seminar when I had just got my blue belt, and he was staying with us, and we were training with him. And he was running a reality TV show for Sub Apparel. Okay. Yeah. So back in the States, and what they were going to do is they were going to have, a certain belt level and weight class per, certain weight class per belt level, have these cameras set, kind of like a Big Brother situation, set up in the house, and then everything would be filmed. It would be like Jiu-Jitsu's first reality TV show. And he actually asked me if I would be on it. Well, he didn't ask me. He actually asked my coach. And my coach was like, yeah, he's done. He's there. So I ended up going like, yeah, I'll do it. So I went to fly over to live with him. As I was flying over, Sub pulled out. The old owner got in a bit of trouble and couldn't fund it. So, man, we had this big going away party. Like, he's going to be on this TV show, blah, blah, blah. And then and then I got there, no TV show. But I didn't care. I lived the jiu-jitsu life in America for a while. We lived in Washington, and we trained 3 times a day.
Where were you training at?
We're training in Fairfax. I always think it's Fairtex. It's Fairfax. Yeah, in Washington. And we trained there for a long time, man. And then I created that relationship with Admar, which I still have to this day. And then come back, and then he moved to Vegas because he was a Robert Drysdale black belt.
Yep.
So then I'll go to Vegas, stay with him for a few months in Vegas, come back. And then I created a good relationship with Robert. So then I'd go back to Vegas, stay there again, like spend a lot of time with Robert, and then do a lot of stuff there, so a lot of time in Vegas. And then I'd just go back and forth. And then I had my daughter, so we stopped going for a long period of time. But yeah, it was back and forth.
So then in that period, like basically a lot of your savings was just going to travel, right?
That's it, man. But to be fair, like Admar and Rob looked after us a lot, man. Like I didn't pay for accommodation when I was there. Admar paid for it. Food was super cheap, man, because you live in jiu-jitsu life. And I shared a bedroom with like 4 other Brazilian dudes.
Hopefully we didn't miss too much, but
good.
Anyway,
so
the audio's there. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, cool. So we I was sharing a bedroom with like 4 other Brazilian guys that didn't speak English, and like it wasn't fancy living, but it was a jiu-jitsu life. Very very much like Spatch is a friend of mine. Very much like the Pedigo situation now. That's quite televised, but we were doing that a lot back then. And it's cool. And food was super cheap, man. Competitions, Admar or Rob would pay for. We'd walk to training, and someone would drive us home, or we'd walk back home from training. And like it was just, it was good, man. It's just what we did.
Yeah,
so, it was nice.
So then, okay, So a lot of travel back and forth, and then were you competing a lot when you were in America as well?
Yep. So did Pan, like a lot of the gi. So basically, like people see me now as like a no-gi guy, but I only did the gi up until my black belt. And like I would do no-gi tournaments because in Australia, especially if you travel over east, it's usually like gi and no-gi. So we'd want to get most value for money, so we jump in both, you know. But we very rarely train no-gi, like once a week maybe. And only if it was super hot would we take the gi off. So I did like 90% of my training in the gi. So we did a lot of gi tournaments, man. Pan Ams, Mundials, you know, anything we could do in the gi is what we were doing. I don't think I even competed no gi when I was in the States until I got my brown belt. I did no gi worlds. I think that was the first time I competed no gi in the States. And then when I got my black belt after that, that's when I started to get some offers to fight super fights and things like that. And the money started to come in, and I had a few injuries in the gi that I just couldn't train in the gi anymore. So I was just like, all right, we'll make the switch to no-gi, and then I just ended up loving it a lot more. So
yeah, what were the injuries in gi?
So my elbow actually doesn't straighten. That's as straight as it gets.
That's as straight as it gets.
Yeah, it's as straight as it gets. So
you've got like bone fragments in
there. So I just got to get them taken out, which I'm hoping to do in July. But I've had that for years. And then I broke a few of my fingers, and I was told I was never going to be able to close my hand again.
Yep.
So I had to do a lot of rehab on my fingers, in the shower, like every day, just doing this kind of thing and whatnot. But I couldn't train in the gi for like 6 months because I couldn't grab the gi because my pinky and my ring finger would hang out. Yep. But I could do this. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do no gi then because I can do this.
Yeah, monkey grip and sea grip.
So I just started doing a lot more no gi. And then I would get back to the gi sporadically, but I just fell out of love with it, man. I don't begrudge anyone that does it or wants to focus on it. And I think it's amazing. And I think the guys are super high level.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just, I don't. I
like hurts. Let's be real.
It's
just your fingers. Like that's
but for
the thing
me,
that
the competition side of things too, man. Like I just don't feel like the gi guys go after it like the no gi guys do. You know what I mean? Like there's some no gi guys. Like let's take Cody Steele for example, right? Cody Steele probably hasn't won a big match on WNO or any of these things in a while, right? But he's so exciting, man. People want to watch him compete. But tell me who won Pan Am's 2 months ago? You wouldn't be able to do it. Because they don't go after it. And then you roll with these guys in the gym and they're exceptional. You're like, how do you get that good at jiu-jitsu? But then they don't want to do it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like just, it's difficult for me to not want to go for the kill when I'm competing.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I want to see. I want to see guys go after it and girls go after it. And like in the gi, I just don't think they do that as much anymore, man.
Well, I think it's also, as the sport becomes more mainstream, it's like, it needs to be spectator friendly. Right? Like, so having a match where it's a very technical gi match and people are stalling each other, not necessarily stalling each other out, but like, bunkering down once they're up on points. Yeah. And, because they want to win. Yeah. Right? Like, it's not really spectator friendly. No. Whereas if you got two guys that are like scrapping and like, I'll give you an example from Grapple Mania. Like we had Ben Moses and Max Hayes Antcliffe going at it. Like they're mates as well. Yeah, yeah. And like, it was just like, watching them go at it was just exciting. It was an 8-minute match. Like it went the distance. Yeah. But like you were entertained the whole way through. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things, man. Like I said, I don't like begrudge any of the gi guys that compete. Like I said, I think they're amazing. I just feel like no gi's more for me and what I want to do and stuff. So yeah, yeah. I think it's an interesting time for the sport in that regard because there is a lot of no gi opportunity. Like you look at like the crowd at the last ADCC, and I'm sure it's going to be equally as crazy. Yeah. This year. Yeah. Right. To see like that happen in a fairly short period of time. Yeah. If you sort of think about it. Yeah, 100%. It just creates more opportunities for people that want to get into the sport all the way around. Yeah. And I think they're like the more the money comes and the marketing and the business side of things and athletes treating it like professionals and working down that route, you have a pathway for kids to come through. And that's when you'll really start to see the sport explode. At the moment, there's not a pathway for kids to make a career out of jiu-jitsu, because for me, a career out of jiu-jitsu is being able to live off jiu-jitsu. That at the moment is owning a gym and a successful gym. Yeah. That's not jiu-jitsu, that's business. You know what I mean? Because you could be a great coach and have zero business sense, you'll fail. Like you won't be able to run a business. Yeah. So for them to want to be athletes or have a career path in jiu-jitsu that isn't just owning a gym, it's going to take some time. Yeah. It's going to take some time, but we're getting there, man. And we're working a lot. Like we do a lot. That's one of the things I do a lot with my guys is show them how to make money from jiu-jitsu and
how to market themselves and, you know, deal with promoters and knowing their worth and finding their niche and things like that. You know, Adele was a good example, Reece Allen, you know, Peachy's on the card, Bam Bam, any of these athletes that are really, really good, they've all got good jiu-jitsu. But if no one wants to see them compete, they ain't getting paid.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure like that you're in the forefront of everybody's mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you need to have something that you're known for.
Yep.
Right? Like I think that always, you know, even if you think about like, say, to go on a bit of a tangent, right? Like you think about pro wrestling. Like pro wrestling's been around for plenty of years.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But like, why do people still tune in? It's because it's entertaining.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right? Like, and you know, forget the fact that you know the matches are staged.
Yeah.
Like it's entertaining.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why people, you know, like
they get bigger crowds in the NFL. They make more money. Like it's crazy. Like, and people want to like shit on it, but it's like people love it, man.
Yeah,
people love it. And like, I talk to this about the athletes. Like, you got to find your niche, not someone else's. You know, so like you don't. Okay, Gordon makes a lot of money, but Gordon can play that character. You know what I mean? Gordon couldn't play Craig's character.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if Gordon tried to act like Craig, he's not going to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's fucking good at jiu-jitsu. He's the best, but he's not going to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to find your niche, you know, and I talk about this with Adele a lot. You know, she's on WNO and she had I didn't come up with it, but she had the daddy hat and everyone was talking about the daddy hat and, you know, the daddy energy and stuff like that. Like, perfect. Because now they're relating you to a brand now.
Yeah.
So run with that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like she's gay. Obviously she's got a partner. Like, cool. Lean into that. That's your niche. You know what I mean? Because guess what? I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not saying exploit it. That's not what I'm saying. But like, don't hide it either. That's who you are. Like, you bring that out, people are going to love you for it. Instead of trying to be something you're not. Like, just be you. You're good enough as you are. You've got the skills to back it up. You don't need to have this flamboyant, like, shit talk, blah, blah, blah. Like, just be you. You know what I mean?
Isn't it funny? Like, the buzzword, you know, for many years was like this word authenticity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people love to throw that word around.
Yeah.
But it still sort of rings true. Like, it's not to say that all you're doing is you're taking little bits of your personality. And so, as an example, everybody's like, might be more extroverted in certain circumstances. Like, you know, people that may be quiet outside are really like boisterous with their family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And it's about like just tuning into that part of your personality and then just dialing it up for other people to see.
Yeah.
I think when I was, when I podcasted with Josh Coolabauer, we were talking about it, and it's like when he started to have to do a lot of media stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was talking about like, once I sort of realized that it was just like, it's still me.
Yeah.
You know, but I just got to dial up this certain aspect of me to 10.
Yep.
You know, so just it's almost like, you know, you just taking that one piece of you and wearing it on your sleeve so that everybody else can see that aspect of you as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just also finding what you're comfortable with too, you know. I think a lot of people get mixed up with like thinking they have to be a certain way or do a certain thing. And it's like, it's not how things work, you know. Not every, like if you take tennis, I always relate jiu-jitsu to tennis. Not every tennis player is the same. You know what I mean? Like Federer and Djokovic and Nadal probably get paid very similar. They're very different people. They're very different athletes. They're very different competitors.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They don't have to be the same.
No.
So like, you just got to make sure you're comfortable with who you are and what you're doing. You know, because when you mix that line of like trying to be someone and something that you're not, then you're really taken away from like yourself. And I think your jiu-jitsu, and I don't think it ever ends very well.
Well, that's even like your own game plan when it comes to jiu-jitsu, right? Like everybody has a style.
Yes.
Right? And yes, you know, you're going to be able to pick up different technical elements from different coaches or different people, but you still have like a natural cadence that you operate to.
Yep.
Right? And so like somebody who might be, you know, very good top pressure kind of a thing, like if you were to take that out of your game just because you want to focus on something else, you probably will end up losing more.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And there's a difference between that in the training room versus that on the stage.
Yep.
Right? Like definitely in the training room, put yourself in uncomfortable situations and try and learn. But like, like everybody has this natural resonance or tendency towards a certain aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Right? And by knowing that, well, you got to lean into that if that's your strength.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, play it to the max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like it's one of those things, man, that people are starting to learn a lot more about it, you know. It just comes from being more professional with everything. You know, it's a big thing now.
So I want to go back to the security job.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there any good stories there?
Oh, there's heaps, man. Yeah, I worked at So I worked at a nightclub, Eve nightclub, which is connected to the casino in Perth. It's open 24 hours, the casino. So there's always a bunch of stuff, you know. What's some good ones that I can tell? I once tried to pick a fight with Sonny Bill Williams, not knowing it was Sonny Bill Williams.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's no hat policy at the club, and it was a big hip-hop night, big R&B night, and had some performers there and stuff, and people keep wearing their hats, and I was just having a bad night, and I was like, next fucking person that wears their hat in here, I'm dragging out, and then I'm standing upstairs, I see these like 3 Islander guys start walking, and the one in the middle has his hat on, but he's like looking at his phone, and I just walk over there and like put my finger at him, and I'm like, if you don't take your hat off now, I'm gonna drag you out of here. I don't know where I got the courage. Like, he obviously beat the shit out of me, bro. But then he like took his hat off. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I realized who it was, and I was like, it's okay. But no, he could have beat the shit out of me if he wanted to. But no, he did good. Oh, actually, I'll tell one that that people, the friends will get a laugh out of is I always tell the story when I meet people that I saved Tiger Woods' life.
Okay.
Because we used to do like a little bit of bodyguard work when we're there. Now a lot of celebrities have their own bodyguards and that. Yeah. But back then, you know, this is over 10 years ago. If someone came, they would get security to bodyguard them. So I got asked to look after Tiger Woods, and I was like, yeah, cool. So we went up to his room and we're waiting, and he starts coming out, meets everyone, cool. Start walking towards the elevator. Someone pushes the button, gets in. He must have stopped for something. And then he keeps going. Then as he goes to get into the elevator, the doors are about to shut on him. So I like grab the door and like pull it open. And he looked at me and he was like, thank you. I was like, no worries. And I tell everyone that it could have crushed him. We could have lost him. Like, saved his life. Yeah, he might not have played golf ever again. So thanks to me, Tiger Woods is safe.
Did he have any women in his room? Or?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not that I saw. No, not that I saw. He was really respectful. Most of the athletes, celebrities that I was able to work with were pretty respectful, man. None really stood out that. I got to meet a lot, you know, bodyguarded Taylor Swift.
That's cool.
Bernard Tomic was super nice, super generous too. We weren't allowed to take tips, but he kept trying to give me money.
Really?
Non-stop. But we weren't allowed to take tips. Security's not allowed to take tips. Groups can. Security can't. So he was super nice, man. Who else?
You should have been like, look, I'm not looking. Like, there is an open pocket over here.
Oh, man. So the way it works at the CAS and the nightclub and that is they surveillance 24/7.
Yeah.
But not just the patrons. Like, they have a dedicated crew that just looks at stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can get audited at any time. You know what I mean? And, like, the surveillance crew, like, they would snitch on you all the time, man. Like, definitely security, because we had to deal with surveillance. There was not a good relationship there, because it's like, you would be my friend, we're sitting down eating lunch, and then an hour later my boss is like, why were you on your phone at this time? And you know that I know it was you that saw me on my phone, and has written it down and given it to my boss. And it's like, why? Yeah. Why do you have to be like that?
That's,
you know?
Big brother.
Exactly.
That shit's all going to become AI, you know?
Oh, man, it's crazy. Like so I don't know what it's like now. Like I said, that was over 10 years ago. But the funny thing is I still have recurring nightmares about having to go back and work security. I just don't think I could do it anymore, man. I had a lot of situations. Would have been,
so if that happens, then that would mean that was a pretty tough time in your life.
It was pretty rough, man. Like, it was like, you work in night shifts, so you're working 6 till 6, 6 at night till 6 in the morning. And like, it's not only are you dealing with volatile situations, but you're also having to deal with like how you deal with a situation, because the surveillance crew are going to dob on you. You know what I mean? So like a normal club or pub, right? They're pretty violent. They're going to drag you out.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. You know, what happens. You kind of expect that. In the casino, people think we do that. We're not allowed to do any of that, man. If I grab you wrong, I'm in trouble. And you could have been trying to stab me, and they don't care. They're like, no. I mean, a stabbing's a bit much. We used to have like different calls for different things, and a Bravo would be like an officer in trouble, right? We actually preferred that, because when it's an officer in trouble,
you can do something.
You can elevate.
Yeah.
But if it's just you as like a 6'8", steroided up man, and you're super aggressive, I have to try and restrain you with my 2 other officers that aren't that big, or could have like never done any form of sport or martial arts in their life, And if I don't do it correctly, I'm going to get in trouble.
Mm.
But I'm like, I know you could stomp me. So it's like, it's a very hard situation, man. So we used to but I would prefer when it would get out of control because I knew I wasn't going to get in trouble then. And I could actually defend myself without having to be like, oh, I'm going to get written up about this or whatnot. So yeah, it was pretty rough, man.
Jake's just there like, looking at the surveillance cameras. Going,
oh man, I'll tell you what.
For that Bravo.
Yeah, bro, I'll tell you what. I got good guillotine offense working there, man. Just wrap the head and give a little bit of a squeeze constantly is probably one of the better ones. But nah, it was a bit of a rough time, man. I definitely wouldn't want to go back and do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, the casino would definitely be a bit more what's the right word? Monitored.
Yeah. The only good thing about the casino though, man, is compared to like a nightclub or a pub, is every night that I'd work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I only work the weekends. You'd have up to 80 officers on site.
It's a lot of support.
Yeah. So like if it really did get out of control, they'd send everyone.
Yeah.
So like we never had an incident where we had, I think like 20 is the most we've had like a brawl kind of thing where but then that's still, 4-1.
Yep.
So like once everybody gets there, it gets pretty cluttered.
Yeah.
Whereas at a nightclub, you might only have 6 dudes. And if the 6 dudes kicking off and there's 6 of you and 6 of them, it's pretty bad, especially if you're not very good at what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas the casino, like if it elevated that much, then you're going to have a lot of support staff there. Plus the police will respond quicker to the casino than they would a normal nightclub or an incident at a nightclub or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, it was rough.
Did you ever try and sell to the other Sekis and be like, hey, come train jiu-jitsu with me?
We used to train. So there used to be we called it the Burswood Dome, and it used to have it was kind of like an arena. It had rooms and stuff. We had mats in there, man, and we train. And some guys that I've got friends for life from Burswood that still train at my gym or I still keep in contact with and stuff. But man, I was a white belt at the time, just got my blue belt when I was working. And man, I think back now to some of the things I would say and do or the situations I would approach. And I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm 5'6" and I'm a white belt or a blue belt. Like, I'll get smashed, bro. Like now I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. But back then it was like all in, man. But it was also the same thing we spoke about before, the culture too, the nightclub was a very difficult environment to get into because it was very violent. So at one point in time, we had more reported glassings in our nightclub than the whole of London put together.
Huh.
Yeah. So then they changed to like that plastic stuff that doesn't,
Yep.
yeah. And then it would just bounce all over the place, man. The people would try and smash people anyway. So it was a pretty violent, so to get in there, you had to be trusted because when it kicked off, you had to be trusted to get in, right? Yeah. And you had to know what you're doing. So to get into an environment like that, they had a pretty experienced crew. So I had to kind of like prove myself to get in because I was quite young. Ramel got me the job. So I worked with Ramel Luistra, So he got me the job. So obviously being one of Ramel's guys, Ramel already had that respect. Yeah. But coming in, he's like, man, I'm getting you the job. You got to earn your respect. Like you don't just get given it. Like you got to earn it. So like when there is a fight or something like that, I was first in. Because I'm like, one, I can't let Ramel down. And 2, I want to like earn my spot, like that was my mentality.
Ramel stitched you up.
Yeah. Mate, I could tell you a million stories how Ramel stitched me up. But he, my first MMA fight, he stitched me up big time.
We'll talk about that next, but finish this story first.
Yeah. So like, it was just that mindset, man. Like I got to prove myself. Now, I wouldn't be like that. Now I'd be like, oh, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I mean, like now when I'd want to talk to someone to get them out, I'd definitely try and spend more time talking. Whereas before I'd be like, please just kick off because I want to drag you out.
De-escalate.
Yeah.
De-escalate. Now it's de-escalate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right, come on, you got to share the story. So what did Ramel do for you?
Okay, so I was doing a lot of MMA with Ramel. Hadn't had a fight, barely had any striking experience, was a white belt. And he calls me on Monday and he's like, what do you weigh? And I was like, 74 and a half. And he's like, all right, you're fighting on Saturday at 65. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's a professional bout. I was like, but I haven't had any amateur fights. He's like, yeah, you'll be fine. And I was like, all right, well, what do I do? He's like, stop eating. Like, you got to weigh in on Friday. So the whole week, man, was like salary and sauna on the day. This is for AFC too. AFC were a big event back in the day. Soa Palele was the main event. Luke Jamu, who fought in the UFC, he was on that card. Xavier Lucas, Steve Kennedy. Man, it was a stat card. Like, it was a big event. Anyway, the Friday was weigh-in day, struggling big time, man. My gums were bleeding. My lips were cracked. I come back from the sauna. I could barely lose any weight. I called Ramel. I was crying. It's like, I can't do it. He's like, you fucking get back in the sauna. And I'm like, okay, coach, I'll get back in. And then we ended up making the weight, and I fought a guy. He was a brown belt at the time and had a Muay Thai state title. So like literally last minute, he had a legitimate opponent. And
opponent pulled out.
Yeah, so I was the feeder.
Yeah.
Anyway, didn't have a corner. Ramel couldn't come, had to work. So I brought one of my mates with me. Luckily, Ramel set me up with Dennis Kelly from
Resilience.
Yeah.
Oh, from ACSA.
Yes. So Dennis, I still, and Thomas
Dennis
Rudem.
and Dan, sorry guys.
Yeah.
But yes, Dennis Kelly.
And Thomas Ruderman. I still, when I see them at Jiu Jitsu tournaments, still catch up with them, have a laugh. But they cornered me. But I also had one of my mates that never done martial arts just come over with me. And then when the announcer come in, he's like, oh, you know, these are your details. What's your nickname? And I'm like, oh, I don't have one. He's like, no worries. And then as I'm walking out, he announces me as Jake the Situation O'Driscoll, because the Jersey Shore was quite big then. So Ramel had told him to call me the Situation. And then I got bashed, man. So like I walked out, not nervous at all, got fucking punched a couple of times. I was like, oh, that's different. And then I shot for a takedown because I only did jiu-jitsu. I didn't know any striking.
Yeah.
And then we fell through the ropes because it was the ropes.
Oh, the ring.
Yeah, we got back in, and I put my head on the inside of a single leg, and he tried to knee me in the face. I remember it clear as day. And I pulled my head up like, wow, this guy's actually trying to kill me. And then I went to single leg again, but instead of turning the right way, I turned the wrong way and gave him my back.
Yeah.
And he jumped on my back, sunk in a rear naked choke. This is like a minute into the fight. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to like let everyone down. But I ended up tapping, and I lost. And then anyway, the Herald Sun was there because this is in Melbourne. The cage was banned. The Herald Sun were there to do a report on cage fighting, but in the ring.
Yep.
And the front page of the paper was me getting choked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just got stitched up completely. Bad weight cut, opponent, nickname, fucking everything. But it was my one and only pro fight, one and only MMA fight. Took it on 4 days notice, 5 days notice or whatever. And then I always was planning to go back, was training with Ramel, planned to go back. And then I think I got my purple belt. No, I think I was a white belt, sorry. So I got my blue belt. And then I was like, when I get my purple belt, like I'll feel comfortable, you know. And I got my purple belt, and I had been in America and stuff. And I was like, no, I could win some jiu-jitsu stuff when I get my brown belt, when I get my black belt. And then I've just never gone back. Yeah. So definitely like help some guys with their grappling for MMA and things like that. Yeah. But no, I'm very lucky too. I get paid quite well to do jiu-jitsu, so I don't have to transition down that route. But I wouldn't be cut out for it anyway, man. I can't even straighten my arm. So
can't throw a straight.
I can't even straighten my arm. So
yeah. So then, that's too good. Shout out Ramel.
Yeah, the man.
when I catch up with Ramel, I'm gonna have to like
he's got
pull out all these stories for me.
He's got a gym very close to my gym.
Combat Academy.
Yeah, and I love it, man, because I was one of his first guys that like he had a team of guys that he wanted what he's got now. Yeah, champions in MMA and guys that really want to fight and they want to make the UFC. And you know, he wanted that a long time ago because he got that from Brian. Brian passed that on to him. And that's what he wanted. And he went through a lot, man, like a lot of shit that he just shouldn't have happened to him and whatnot. But now he's got guys in that gym, and I'm not just talking about Quillen and Cody, who are amazing. There's other guys and girls in that gym that have the potential to be, you know, UFC fighters or whatnot. And it's so cool to see him finally get to that spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, man, his gym's 10 minutes from mine. You know what I mean? Like, we should be competitors, but we're not, you know, like I support him and he supports me. We talk all the time, but it's so good to see someone that had those dreams early, years and years, man. And now he's starting to reap a little bit of the rewards from it, you know? Yeah.
That's the whole, you know, overnight success, but 10 years of hard work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like everybody only notices because suddenly you're popular, but then it's like you've been grinding away for all this period of time.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a fucking cool story.
Yeah.
You know,
that's one of the ones I keep in the back pocket, man. When I tell people, because people wouldn't know I actually had an MMA fight once. So.
What about so what were some of the other odd jobs that you did? So you mentioned the sales rep for know, supplements, warehousing.
Yeah, so man, I worked at Jester's. I worked at
What's Jester's?
Jester's is a pie company, make pies. Yeah, I worked at Chicken Treat, even though I'm allergic to chicken.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, I'm allergic to chicken.
You're actually allergic to chicken.
Chicken, fish, eggs, and nuts.
Chicken, fish, eggs, and nuts.
Yeah, basically all the good protein. Yeah.
So then when it comes to diet and things like that, so what do you?
Red meat. Yeah. Eat red meat. Yeah. Yep. Red meat and just odd foods, man. Lots of fruit, lots of veggies.
Were you always allergic to these foods? Mm-hmm. Okay, so even from a young age, you couldn't eat them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't eat them. Like I can eat chicken, man. It just makes me sick. So like sometimes I'll steal one of my daughter's chicken nuggets or something.
Yeah.
But like I'll only do it if I'm home, because sometimes I'll vomit or sometimes I just get itchy. So sometimes
that's a pretty big roulette to play.
Yeah. So sometimes I run the risk, you know. I'll just have a nugget and see how I go. Sometimes I'm fine. Sometimes I get away with it, but definitely like seafood and nuts, I won't touch at all.
Yeah.
And then people ask, oh, what do you do if you're at a wedding or you're at, you know, someone's house or something like that? And I'm just like I just won't eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, man, sometimes I got to cut weight, and I'm not going to eat for like over 2 days. Like 2 days, you're going to nibble on stuff. It's not a big deal. Like a couple of hours is not a big deal. I just wait till I get home. Like, you know, so, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what else, jobs wise?
So Chicken Tree, I worked at the movie theater for like 2 days, which was probably the worst one, man, because in a non-arrogant way, I always felt like I could do what I'm doing now. So I was working at the movie theater, and all my mates would come through with their girlfriends or whatever, and I'm like ripping their tickets, and I just felt like a bum. I was like, and I'm not saying that that is a bum job at all. It's not. But for me, I just felt like, what are you doing, man? Like, cut that out. Like, go and do something. And that's basically it, man. Then I went into the supplement industry for a long time, just doing that. And then teaching privates, obviously. I don't teach privates anymore, thankfully. I stopped doing them.
Any reason behind that?
Time. Time and money. Like, I don't feel like it's value for my time, and I don't need the money, so I don't do it.
Yep.
And I pass it on to my coaches, because they do.
Yep.
Yeah. But also I run mentor programs, and I feel there's more benefit out of the mentor programs than there is the privates. And the mentor programs are more expensive, but I feel like it's a faster way to learn and you retain more information. Whereas a private lesson is, you know, especially if I don't know you, like, it's going to be hard for you to retain the information, man. Like, it's only an hour, you know, like I can't really pick up much from your game. Like, even like we rolled today, like we had some good leg exchanges, and you had like some good top pressure, but I don't know if that's your game or not. Like, I don't know if you were just doing that because it's a 3-minute roll or because you know, that's what you like to do or whatnot. So like, it's hard, I think, for someone to really impact someone's game with a private lesson.
Yeah.
I get it if you want to do it with someone that's famous or whatnot and you want to get a particular skill. But yeah, I just stopped doing it, man.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the mental program that you do, right? So if people are interested in it, how do they find it?
Yeah, cool. So just send me a message. So basically what it is, man, and I started this a couple of years ago, and now it's getting a little bit more popular. A lot of other athletes are doing it now. But basically, just think of like a PT or a weights program, man, where you go in and they'd tell you you're working chest today and you're doing this, this, and this for jiu-jitsu. So you would tell me I'm training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and I'll give you a specific goal that you need to achieve on that day and what you're going to do. But it's all programmed into a bigger plan on how we want to transform your game. So like, nothing is left to chance. I'll program exactly the pathway that you need to go to get to where you want to go. I'll program your rounds. I'll review your footage. I'll review your mindset. I'll help you with all that kind of stuff, man. So it's an all-in-one, basically, like a mentor, and it accelerates your learning because you're getting specific, individualized attention in areas that you need to improve in. You know what I mean? So like, one of the biggest things I tell my guys all the time, don't just use me as your only source of jiu-jitsu information. There's so much more, man. Like, you might come to class, I might show a technique, and you're never going to use it. Cool, don't use it. Drill it so that your training partner gets the opportunity to enjoy the class. But then don't worry about it. Do something else. It don't bother me if you don't want to learn my jiu-jitsu. Learn your own. But like, too many people rock up to the gym and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I'm just going to roll today. You're not going to get better like that, man. Yeah. Like, you think Federer goes to the court and he's like, I'm just going to hit the ball today. Maybe some days, but most of the time they're like, we're going to work on our forehand to the back right corner, or we're going to work on our volleys to here, or we're going to work on our footwork at like something, you know? Big one I like to use is Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a shooting coach. Why the fuck does Steph Curry need a shooting coach? He's got a shooter alive. Yeah. Because he knows he can be better. And he knows that he's going to have someone accountable to, he's accountable to someone to help him improve that little bit and that little bit. So he maintains that level over an extended period of time, not just a flash in the pan. You know, he didn't have one good shooting season. You know what I mean? Another one is Tim Grover with Michael Jordan. You know, you don't think Michael Jordan was lifting weights before he met Tim Grover? Of course he was. You know, but Tim Grover added something different. You know, and this is what I do a lot with the high-level athletes like Adele and Reese and stuff. I talk to them every day and we program things every day. But hobbyists as well can take that same program and accelerate their learning. you know, which is crucial. And I talk about it a lot because I think it's so beneficial. Now it's expensive. It's $600 for 6 weeks. So it's an investment, but it's an investment in yourself. You know what I mean? And it's why is it so expensive per se? Because I spend a lot of time on it, man. Like I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'll get Johnny to do false reap today. I do false reap. Nah, man, I'll be like, okay, Johnny was having trouble with this, so we can fix this here, and then we'll do this. And like, I really go deep into it. You know, I give you case studies. I make you watch matches. Like, I make you film your own rounds. Like, there's a lot to it, man. And like a lot of people that have done the mentor program, if they've committed to it, great results. You know what I mean? Like, Adele's basically on a mentor program every day. We talk every day. There's nothing that she does that we don't speak about, you know? And if she does and I don't know, then she's going to tell me and we can adjust it for the next session or whatnot, and so be it. So like, and then you see what she's doing. You know, she's the number 1 featherweight in the world. Like the shit works, man. So.
Yeah. Well, there's two parts to that, right? Like it's the accountability aspect, and I think, you know, even in business, right? Like a lot of business owners will still have business coaches.
Yes.
Because the accountability piece, you know, when it's your own business, you can sort of get away with being like, yeah, it's my business. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then to actually have somebody that asks you the hard questions and makes you look at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah. And like it's always one of those things, man. I know when I diet or when I do something, when I write it down or I make a calendar, like I will do that task just because I don't want to put a cross in that box. I want to put a tick. So like when you're accountable to someone else, you're more likely to put the tick because you don't want to let me down. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to turn to me that day and be like, no, I didn't train because I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. And they also call you out on your bullshit, right?
100%. Yeah.
Like if you don't send any rolling footage, like, mate, are you training?
Yeah, we do this all the time. So funny, like I talk to Adele and her partner Nev nearly as much as I talk to my own partner and my family, because it is that crucial. You know what I mean? Like, and she's got great coaches. You know, she works with Dave Hart at Dominance, and when she does camps with Gaval and Atos, like she works with great coaches. I'm not trying to replace them. I'm not trying to be better than them. I'm trying to be me. And I know what I can bring to the table for her. You know what I mean? And what I'm doing helps her. That's my goal, to help her. I'm not trying to make a name off Adele or Reese or any of these names that I work with. I'm trying to make sure that what I bring to the table is beneficial to them. Now, I know it is. And there could be a point where it's not anymore. And that's where I'll be like Adele's friend. You know, where you do what you got to do to be successful. Yeah. I don't need to hold on to you anymore, or you don't need to hold on to me. It's fine. You do what you need to do. But at this point in time, I know I'm beneficial to her and what she wants to achieve. And she knows the same. So we work really well together.
And was this idea, like, was that spawned from any influences that you
So Ash Williams, who's fighting Ali tomorrow night.
Yep.
So Ash Williams is a good friend of mine. We I actually started this a little bit when COVID happened, because I haven't really had a coach, man. I've got, like, Ed gave me my black belt, but since leaving ABMA, I basically coached myself. And I don't say that in a negative way or like a regretful way. It's just how it panned out. You know, I was usually the one teaching class and whatnot. So then I was like, fuck, I need someone, man, because I'm not having the results I want. So then I was doing a lot of coaching online with JT Torres. But the times didn't add up, right? The times just, the times in America to Australia.
Time zone,
yeah. It just didn't add up. So then I was talking a lot to Ash. Ash did a seminar. He's good friends with Peaches. And he was helping me a lot. And I was like, bro, let's do this. Let me pay you. Let's do this as like a mentorship, because it's time you're taking away. And also, like, it'll keep me accountable and whatnot. So we started like that, just online. Ash wouldn't write me programs like I do, but we talk about training. You know, we talk about what we need to improve. We do a lot of mindset stuff, all that stuff. That was over 2 years ago. So now our friendship has grown from that, you know, and it's not the same as it was in that regard. But I would still ask him questions and stuff. He's amazing. But that's where I got the idea, like, fuck, man, like, if I'm doing this and I'm getting benefit, imagine a white belt getting this or a blue belt, you know? So then I was like, well, how can we do this? And then I actually got my partner and a few others in the gym. I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, let me use you as a guinea pig and see how it goes. And they got fucking great results. And I was like, okay, there's something here. So then I just adapted it over time. And now, because I don't have the reach like a, you know, a Gordon Ryan or something, like, it hasn't, I actually have mentor programs all over the world, man. I've done them in America, New Zealand, Australia, whatever. So, but like, I don't have the reach of those kind of guys, you it's not as big as I think it could be, but it's definitely beneficial, man. Definitely
Well, there's also, I think there's a limit in terms of your time as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like if you had the reach, it would probably dilute your product.
Yeah.
Because if you're reviewing that rolling footage from training sessions of all your mentees, like that's minutes upon minutes of rolling footage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably more like hours upon hours. Like if each person's sending you 30 minutes of rolling footage from each session, and you already got 5 of those, there's 2.5 hours gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
Definitely. And definitely, like, to keep it more individualized and advanced, man, I definitely try not to take on too many at once. But then we also have to factor in things like trials and stuff like that, man. Like a lot of the athletes I coach for trials, like we do a lot of work, man. Like it's a lot. So I'll be glad when this trials is over, I can have a bit of a break from coaching people towards trials, but that's good, man.
Yeah. I want to ask you about this because we talked about it a little bit before we were doing the podcast, but you were talking about when you used to try and cut a lot of weight and you had that leukemia scare.
Yes.
So tell the full story.
So last year we were, man, this would probably be the first time 90% of people around me will even hear this, because it's just something that I kept to myself and kept to people close to me. But last year, at the beginning of last year, a little bit back from the beginning of last year, I just thought, man, like I walk around at like 78 kilos. I'm a small middleweight, but I compete at like middle, medium, heavyweight. I just, like maybe if I dropped to 73, I could really push for like a world title and Nogi World or something like that. So that was the plan. So we started doing that, and I had a couple of super fights at under 75, like 74 kilos, but we dieted for a long period of time, man. And then I just wasn't well, man. I got back from the UK. I wasn't well. I fought Baby Dave on sub, and take nothing away. That's not an excuse. He beat me fair and square. But it's just things weren't right. And I was like, things aren't right. So I went and got some few tests, and doctor was a bit worried. I couldn't even get off the couch some days, man. And I'm like
bad?
Yeah, real bad. Like couldn't carry, man, I had to get my missus to carry shopping bags around the shop. Couldn't carry shopping bags. Like it was like bad. I was like, and we don't know what's going on, man. So we got some blood tests and that, and I ended up seeing my doctor, and he was like, "Oh, look, it's showing signs that you may have leukemia." And like, fuck, like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
like that's just not something you throw around. He's like, "Look, man, you're gonna have to do more tests. It's gonna take a while, but this was."
So is that what, like, white blood cell count was down or something?
It was so my red blood cells were eating my white blood cells, or vice versa, whatever it was. Right, they were attacking them really badly. You know, my kidneys went from when I got them tested like a 91% health rate to 61. Anything below 61 is dialysis.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like a 31, 32-year-old healthy male. Like I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Like I exercise, I eat right. And again, I'm dieting with a professional nutritionist. So nothing I was doing was extreme. We're doing normal stuff. So all these signs were ticking like, no, he's healthy, but no, something's going on. So for like 8 months, man, I had to go through a bunch of tests and like up and down, man. And obviously I only told people close to me. So my partner, she went through it, man. She obviously, she didn't talk about it because I didn't really want people to know, but she's also worried about like what could happen and what not,
and your daughter as well. And
daughter, like I didn't really tell her too much, man. I just told her dad might be a bit sick, so we just got to be a bit generous with him, be a bit kind with his time and that. Like, man, I take her to the playground, couldn't climb the thing with her, like nothing, man. And I even said to my guys in the pro team, like, man, I'm going to take some time off because I can't move. I do like 5 minutes of a roll and then sit out. And they'd back this up. They'd see it, right? And then I started to get a bit better. And then I felt like I was like okay-ish. So I was like, man, if I've got this, like I want to fight because I don't know what's going to happen. So I started just taking matches, just like, my first match was on M16 against a guy that was like 88-ish kilos. And I weighed in at like 77 because I was like, I just want to fight, man. Because if I'm sick, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
So then I did that, and then I did some more events, man, and I ended up getting a lot better, man. And we still haven't got a diagnosis. We've been told, like, okay, you're safe. It's not leukemia, thankfully. But that took from March till November of last year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a long period of time where I was sitting in that.
Limbo.
Yeah, and but even now, man, I still have days where I got to take a lot of medicine, man. I got to take a lot of medicine for my stomach. I sound like Gordon Ryan. A lot of medicine for my stomach. I got to take, obviously my mental health medicine. We had to find a combination for that because I take medicine for my mental health. I'm asthmatic, so I got to have asthma medication as well. So it's finding a balance with that, man. And we still don't have a diagnosis, so we're still going through a lot of things, a lot of gut health tests now, and a lot of like looking at autoimmune diseases at the moment, seeing if it could be something like that. But I feel good, man. Like I feel like even when I had that diagnosis, like it took a day or two to be like, okay, could be this, and then I was like, I know this is going to sound bad, and I apologize to anyone that's gone through it, but I was just like, it's not, I'm a win, like I'm gonna beat this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I might be sick for a while, but I'm gonna be
You're gonna bounce back.
Yeah, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's the kind of mentality that I have, and that's the kind of mentality I try to show. I probably did it the wrong way. It probably affected my relationship a lot because it was difficult not knowing whether I was going to be healthy or not. And then, I've got my partner and she's a great stepmom to my daughter. But if something happened to me, like, what does that look like? Because the relationship with Ava's mum and my partner and et cetera. So it was a lot of things. So a lot of the time I was in a very dark place and had the mental health stuff. And a lot of times before I could even associate with people, I hadn't been able to pull myself out of that place yet. So I was a lot angrier and crankier than I usually am. You know what I mean? So it took a lot for me to, because people don't know. Like this is honestly probably the first time people are going to find out that.
Wow.
That
Sorry, I didn't mean to pull it out.
No,
of
you're
you.
good, man. You're good.
About.
You're good.
Yeah.
Because I just one of those things, man. Everyone's got stuff going on, and I always feel like, God put me here to help. And I'm a big believer. I'm very religious, and I'm a big believer in helping. And sometimes I don't do it the way it should be done, but I always have good intentions, and I feel like people come to me to talk about their mental health and that, and I didn't want to lose that because I wanted to help them. And just because I might be sick, I didn't want them to feel sorry for me and feel like they couldn't come to me if they needed help. So it was rough for a while, man, but it's better now,
So just to touch on the God thing, right?
Yeah.
So when you get, the doctors saying, oh, it could be this, like from a faith perspective, like did that make you question things?
No, never.
No,
So
you're always like, okay.
No, I'm like, again, man, people might not know that I'm very religious. I do have religious tattoos, but tattoos are tattoos, but I'm very religious, man. I'm a big believer. I pray every day. I read the Bible, everything, right? Yeah. But I don't do it. I don't have faith the way everybody else has faith in terms of, I believe I was here. I believe that God put me here to, how do I explain this? To like show his way, my way. You know what I mean? Like obviously you have like don't kill and things like this, but like the Bible can be interpreted in many different ways. You know what I mean? So like for me, it's the way, so like I don't go to church all the time, but that's not a lack of faith. I pray every day. I don't need to go somewhere to show that I believe in God. Yeah. Like I just know. So
it's a relationship, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how I like to, and I don't push it in people's faces, man. Like if I feel like they may need it, I'll be like, oh, hey man, you should look at this or, whatnot, but not like never, like I don't really have many conversations about it, man, but never do I lose faith because like, that's not like I know it's bad, but it's also an opportunity for me to do good. You know what I mean? Because it's an opportunity for me to show people that, and it didn't happen, thankfully, thank God, but an opportunity for me to show people that, I can overcome certain things. You can too. You know what I mean? Like and I have too many good things in my life, man, for one thing to go wrong to straight away blame God and be like, like I make a living doing what I love. I have a beautiful family. I have relationships with a lot of people in my family. Like so many good things, man. Like I can't turn around and be like, oh, because I'm sick. Like, he's damned me. Like, no, it is what it is.
You're still grateful for all the things all the blessings, man, that you've been given.
Always. And again, like you saw me before, I was pretty angry. Like I was telling my guys, like, fucking hurry up, let's go. Like, it's like sometimes obviously you get in that athlete mind or that focused mind, and sometimes you can portray yourself a different way. But like at my core, man, I'm very giving and I'm very caring about people. So like, I'm very grateful all the time. That's one thing I do every day when I wake up. That's my first prayer every morning. It's just being grateful that I got to wake up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when I go to bed at night, my last prayer is being grateful for the people I got to spend time with. You'll probably be in my prayers today, man. Being able to have a good opportunity to speak to you, a good conversation. Same with John on his podcast. Getting to see Ali, who follows a different faith than I do. but getting to see him and spend time with him, like, you know, I'm very grateful for that.
There's honestly, like, because I did a podcast with Ali as well, and it's like there's so many commonalities.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that I always find interesting is just how much commonality there is.
Yep.
And then, of course, like there are always going to be things that differentiate the different faiths or whatever.
Yeah.
But like there is a place for like this mutual understanding.
Yes.
And this mutual agreement and that, you know, God is good.
Yes. 100%.
You know, and like the premise of God is actually a good thing in our lives.
Yes.
Right. Like I think there's a very, you know, sound place for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a little bit curious in terms of for you, when your daughter came into this world, right? Like, did that has that shaped your faith, like your belief in God in any way? And I guess to preface the question, right?
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with my wife the other day, and we were talking about, you know, the role of fathers, right? And she brought up this. I thought it was a really nice point where it's kind of like, you know, for like to sort of understand the kind of love that God has for us. It helps if you have a father, you know, that has shown you that kind of love.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess, you know, for you obviously didn't necessarily have that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And like, you know, for me, like I had a fractured relationship with my dad for a long time, but like through my kids, I sort of I can understand that love because of how much love I feel for my kids.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, did that change your world at all?
Yeah, definitely, man. Like when Ava came along, it's completely different. Like the way I view things and the way that I go about things, and you know, I'm wrapped around her little finger, man. she's my little mini me. You know, we spend a lot of time together. You know, if she was here, which sometimes she does come to trips with me, man. She came to Singapore when I fought, and she'd just be sitting over there doing her own thing, man. Like and not making a noise. She'd understand this is work, and that she's not. You know, she understands a lot. She understands me. You know, which is cool. And like even recently, I've gone through some things where like there's some different things happening in life, and she understands completely, man. And she understands, you know, Dad has different emotions, and you know, sometimes he's sad and sometimes he's happy, and you know, we just navigate that together because sometimes she's sad and sometimes she's happy. So it definitely changed that, man. It definitely gave me a different like not appreciation of God, but a different like, you know, I'm not big into materialistic things. So like even if I didn't, you know, like if I lose on Subversion tomorrow night, I'm not going to blame God. You know what I mean? I'm going to turn around and be like, oh, I'm supposed to be like chosen one. Like I do these, like, why am I going? No, it's not like that. So like, it doesn't bother me what I have and what I don't have. But when I got her, it was like, that's a gift. You know what I mean? She's a gift. And I know that, you know, and I'm very blessed to have her and have that relationship with her, and the relationship she has. You know, I recently, not recently, but semi-recently lost one of my grandfathers who's I was quite close to. But besides him, she had all four of her great-grandparents. So now she's got all three. And she still spends time with them. And she chooses to spend time with them. And I'm super close with my grandparents. And she's now super close with her great-grandparents and my mum. So like that in itself, you know what I mean? I know some people that don't even know their grandparents or their parents. And she gets that relationship with all of them at such a young age and chooses to have the relationship. Not because I force her. Like I'll be like, hey, I'm going to the gym today. You want to go to Nanny's or you want to come to the gym? Some days she wants to come to the gym. Some days she wants to go and spend time with her nanny. She chooses that. You know what I mean? And that shows me like she's a good soul. You know what I mean? Because it's never forced, or it's never like, oh, Nanny's going to buy me a present or Nanny's going to get me this. It's like, I want to spend time with them. So like, yeah, that definitely changed. Like I felt blessed more as like from a physical sense when she came around.
Yeah. It's a real, that's a checkpoint. Like you don't go back from.
No.
You know, like it's like you really like you start a new chapter.
Yeah.
You know, that's a new chapter, and then it's like you got to try and work out how does this all sort of fit together.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy.
No, and no one teaches you, man. So like I said, like, you know, when I split with Ava's mum, I had her for a while. You know, and that's a whole nother story. But no one taught me how to be a dad. You know what I mean? No one showed me this is right and this is wrong, or you should. And I still do fun like stupid shit all the time, man. Like I'm not great with my dinner. Like I'll just have steak and veggies. Like it's easy.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but like I don't cook, right? Steaks in the air fryer, veggies are microwavable, right?
That's okay.
Yeah, but then Ava will have like, you know, sausages, broccoli, and some mashed potato, which is fine too, right? But I don't cook, so it's like my partner Bam, she'll be like, "No, we got to cook dinner for her. We got to do," and I'm like, "But I didn't do that growing up." So like, no one taught me how to do this. So for me, it's just like, Ava doesn't complain, you know what I mean? But Bam, her family were a very tight unit, and they would always have dinner around the table, and that's what she's used to. So like, it's little things like that, man. No one, you know, or her bedtime. Like when she doesn't have school, like I'll just send her to bed whenever I get sick of her talking to me. You know what I mean? But she knows that if she goes to bed late and she wakes up grumpy, she doesn't get that again. You know what I mean? So if she chooses to stay up a bit later than usual, she still has to get up and do her chores in the morning and do everything. And if she's got a bad attitude, she doesn't get that at night. You know what I mean? She has to go to bed early. So when she wakes up, she's in a good mood because she knows, you know, that was kind of like a reward. I got to stay up a little bit, you know? But I have these conversations with her more and more, and not just like, this is it, this is that. I try and talk to her a lot, you know? Yeah, but I don't know. I just wing it most of the time.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy thing about it, right? You become a parent. Nobody gives you a handbook to say this is how you be a good dad.
No.
And then, like, for any decent dad out there, you start thinking, how do I not fuck this person up?
Yeah.
Right. I don't want this kid to end up fucked up because of something that I did. Wrong,
yeah.
Right. So you really start, you know, questioning yourself and thinking about things, and then it's like, okay, sometimes I know that I sound like a bit like my dad, and it irritates me.
Yeah.
Like when I raise my voice or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's it's a good one, man. It's always you always fall back on like what your family values were like, and you're like, oh, do I want it like that though, or whatnot? So like my mum never cooked, and she'll put her hand up. She can cook like 3 things, but she didn't cook every night. You know what I mean? So like when we turn around and be like, we didn't have cooked meals. Don't get me wrong, I got fed every night. Like I never went.
They just weren't cooked meals.
Yeah, I just weren't cooked meals. Like I didn't. She wasn't around the kid, and to be fair, she's working, so it wasn't like we're being neglected. Like she was providing for us the best way she knew how. So like, I don't look back at that time and be like, oh man, I never had dinner around the table, or which we obviously did, but like on a majority, it was just like we were eating, you know, hey, we're going to eat this tonight, we're going to eat that. And like, I still look back and have like fond memories of that, man, you know?
Yeah. I guess, you know, we need to sort of cover some of the mental health stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I think, you know, that's obviously a big thing for you in terms of like what you like to help people with and have people reach out.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, as much as you're comfortable to share.
Yeah, anything, man, I'll open book.
So I guess, you know, when did you start to realize that something wasn't right?
Yeah, so when I met my partner, well, not when I met, but when I was really with my partner, Bam Bam now, she was the one that really pointed towards, you know, this could be something, and, you know, you might have something there that you should look into. And I'm very big like that, man. If I don't understand something, I want to know it.
Yep.
Especially if it relates to myself and my family. Like, obviously, I don't know Japanese, but I don't really have a passion to go and learn Japanese. You know what I mean? But if it's something that's related to someone around me or myself, I'll go and learn. And then, you know, I started seeing I saw my doctor, and he was like, yeah, we could look at this. And then I saw a psychologist, and we're like, yeah, okay, there's definitely something there. And then there's a big stigma around medication, and I don't care, man. Like, whatever makes me best for the people around me is what I'm going to do. So we started getting medicated, and then had to come off when I had that health scare, which was real bad, and had to go back on. So for me, man, it's just an ongoing process. So now I see my psychologist, you know, a lot. I talk to people as much as I can. I try and get people to open up as much as they can. I'm medicated. I take my medication every morning. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'll tell people I'm medicated. And people can, that's one thing in all aspects of my life. I don't care what people think, man. Yeah. I honestly don't. Like,
so what's the supposed condition? Like, is it a depression?
Yeah, depression and anxiety. So I take desnaflaxine, I think it's called, and some people call it by another name. So depression and anxiety. So there's 2 ways that my doctor explained it to me. So there's one where you can take the medication, you can put in systems in place to start to deal with, you know, the depressive state, your psychologist, your not your thought process, but how you would deal with it when you're in those times and whatnot. Or it's a hormonal imbalance and you need to take the medication for life. So for me, I'm the second one. I got to take it for life. It's a hormonal imbalance. I have great systems in place. I know when I am depressed, how to deal with it now and what to do. And I haven't spiraled in a very, very long time. But it can happen. You know, it's one of those things that it's right around the corner. You know, you never leave it. You know, it's right there. But so for me, man, I don't mind talking about it at all. Like I said, I'm in a sport where I get to verse some of the best guys in the world and have versed some of the best guys in the world. I don't need to prove to anyone I'm tough. I know I'm tough. Yep. And I know I've had situations in my life that like required me to be tough and step up, and I did. So like taking a tablet to make me, you know, make sure I don't spiral for those around me, it does not bother me, man.
Yeah. And so then when it came to working out like the different sort of mechanisms for you to help, you know, prevent yourself getting into those negative loops, right?
Yep.
Was that like, I guess, what are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, so psychologists helped a lot. You know, I definitely recommend if you can find a good one and you've got the money to do that. And then just a lot of my own research, man. I read a lot of books, you know, studied a lot on the internet, and just try to figure out what worked best for me. And what works best for me, man, is acceptance. You know, it used to be like you know, try and be positive, or try and put these positive thoughts in, or do jiu-jitsu, or do something that like will make you feel good, or that doesn't work for me, man, because I just do the subject depressed. Like it didn't help. So I just accept it. Yeah, fuck, man, I feel like shit. Like I'm not feeling good today. Like I probably shouldn't be talking to people because I'm probably just going to snap at people. But tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow it'll pass. The storm always passes. You know what I mean? Maybe tomorrow it won't, but it will the next day. Like I'm going to be okay. This is just how your body's reacting now. Just relax. Like try not overthink. Try not be too, like don't be, like I don't even be positive, man. I'm just like, it'll pass. Like I've done this before. Like I'm okay. You know what I mean? And just get through it. And then I might look at, why did I spiral? Was it a conversation I had? Was it food I ate? Am I not sleeping? Am I overworked? Like try and figure out maybe why I spiraled a little bit. You know what I mean? But sometimes, man, you just wake up like that. You just wake up and it's just that's the day it is, man. Yeah. And you just accept it. And routine is massive for me. I keep a routine. So like my routine's pretty structured. So like I just make sure I tick all the boxes, you know, and that's one thing, you know, I've been criticized before in the past for being a box ticker. Like I make sure the box is ticked, but I love it, man. Like it doesn't bother me. So like for me, it's like
structure.
Exactly. I stick to my routine. Not feeling good, I'll go and train. Not feeling good, I'll eat right. Not feeling good, I'll still check in on my mates. Not feeling good, I'll still spend time with my partner. Because tomorrow, I feel good. Now I've got to go say sorry to everybody I interacted with yesterday because I was a dick. No, I'll just stick to my routine and make sure, okay, hey man, I'm not feeling great today, but I don't mean it. You know, like I'll be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and my gym knows about it, man. Like I'm very open about it in my gym. Obviously, podcasts, I talk about it. You know, that's one thing I tried to hide from the gym for a while, and then it was just like, fuck it. Like people come here because they like me, they like my jiu-jitsu, they want to learn from me. Well, this is me. You know, yeah, some days I'm going to come in and I'm fucking going to be cranky because I don't feel well. You know what I mean? But I'm still going to give you the best of what I have right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend to be someone I'm not. Like, this is the best I can give you right now. You know what I mean? Tomorrow it could be better. Could be worse. But, like, right now, this is what I can give. You know?
I find it interesting, you know, the word acceptance. Because, like, even when we think about going back to the faith thing, right? There's this notion, like, when you believe in God, it's like you surrender to God, right? And I think there's the power in that is that understanding that not everything needs to be within your control.
Yes. Yeah.
And I always use this analogy, so apologies to people that have heard this one before, but it's like, you know, back in the days when people used to think that the world revolved around Earth, right? And, like, you know, when you think that you're the center of the universe, you want to control everything.
Yeah.
Because you feel like, oh, I'm responsible for all of these things and all of these people. And, you know, it gets very overwhelming very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And you actually you see like a little version of that in your children.
Yes.
Because, you know, when your children are like 2 and 3 and they're starting to get a little bit of understanding of the world around them, they go through this phase where they're like really testing their boundaries.
Yeah.
And like that's them trying to work out, well, where does their power end, right? Like, does daddy just do everything that I ask because I'm the one that's in control?
Yeah.
Right? And then they have to learn that, oh, there's we actually have to have an interaction. Like, not everything can be your way.
Yep.
Right? And it's the same thing in life.
Yes.
Right? Not everything has to go the way that we want it to go.
No.
Right? And like, you know, it's one of the things that I really, really enjoy about, you know, when I think about like the different faiths and things like that. I think the concept that you don't need to be like have the world revolve around you, I think that's a very big one.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, from that perspective, you start to realize, like, other favorite is Ecclesiastes, like everything's vanity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I went through this massive phase where I was just like, yeah, it's so true. You know, every pursuit just ends up being vanity at the end of it. So you might as well just pick things that you enjoy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's so important, man. And I encourage people to do that all the time, you know, and don't let other people dictate what you enjoy. You know, if you enjoy collecting coins, collect coins.
Yep.
And be fucking stoked about it. You know what I mean? Like, I do shit like that all the time, man. Like, just whatever I, like, not in an arrogant way, but whatever I want to do, like, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And if people are like, man, you're an idiot, I'm like, yep, I am. Sweet.
Do you journal or anything?
Yeah, I do journal a little bit, man. Not as much as I used to. A little bit, like just little things here and there, man. Like gratefulness mostly, and you know, some thought processes I'm going through and stuff like that. But I have a real good ability to like not only remember things, but also like store things. I guess so, like feelings as well, not just thoughts. You know, so like I know how I felt at a certain time, or like I could tell you, like, man, I can remember fights or matches from 10 years ago that I could tell you how I was feeling, you know, and what I was thinking at the time and whatnot. I've got a good ability to do that, you know. I can do it when I'm rolling. I could, like, watch you rolling and, like, help you while you're rolling while I'm rolling. Like, I've got a good ability to compartmentalize. I'm so bad at that word, but I can do it quite well. So I don't journal too much, man, but I a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then any other sort of practices that you try and make, you know, you're part of your regular routine?
Man, like just the like normal stuff that like I'm real big on my recovery, especially now I'm getting older. So anything that recovery wise I use as a mental exercise too. So like sauna, ice bath. I'm on the exercise bike every day. I'm in the recovery boots every day and like a Shakti mat. I don't just like
what's a Shakti mat?
Like those acupuncture mats.
Oh, like with like the spikes.
Yeah. I don't just like lay there or get in there and just like fuck around, you know, like I'll be thinking about like, you know, conversations I've had or conversations I need to have with people, or maybe it's Jiu Jitsu study, or, you know, like I really get the most out of everything that I do. You know, I very rarely just like tonight we will, because the footy will be on, but you very rarely will just catch me sitting watching a TV and doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Usually if the TV's on, then I'm doing something here, I'm doing something there, or I'm doing something with you, or like I'm doing something. Unless, you know, obviously, you know, I'm with my partner, like, okay, we're going to watch a movie, or we're going to sit down and talk, or that's okay. Like I can do that. But like if it was just me, I'd have my laptop, TV, book, like multiple things. Like I'll multitask really well. Yeah. But retain what I'm doing. Yeah. Not just like have it for the sake of it. Like I'll retain what I'm doing too. Yeah. So when I do that recovery stuff, which is sidetracked a little bit, I'll make sure I'm doing something else at the same time. You know, which so it's you know, it could be studying jiu-jitsu, or it could be watching someone's from the mentor program to their round, something like that. I'm not just sitting there like laying in the boots, like I'll have a nap. You know, if I'm gonna nap, then you focus on napping. Focus on the nap. You know, that's the main focus right now. You know, but not while I'm, you know, have the ability to do something else. I'm not a big fan of sleep, man. People are gonna hate me for that. Obviously, I need it, and I try and get 8 hours. You know, but
you don't wear any devices to track your sleep or anything.
Nope.
Right?
If I could not sleep and I could have the same energy levels all day, I'd do it.
Have you ever tried? It's a horrible thing to talk about, but like, have you ever tried polyphasic, like the Kobe Bryant thing, where it's like every 4 hours you sleep 20 minutes?
No, I haven't.
I did try it, and like I don't recommend it.
No, I don't. Man, I
couldn't stick with it long enough to make it work. But
man,
like,
I can get up early and go to bed late, and I'm fine. Like I can function and stuff like that. Obviously, a few days or a week in a row, you start to get a bit like irritated. But I'm not one of these people that's like, I've got nothing to do on Sunday. I can't wait to sleep in. I'll be up at 6 on Sunday, and I'll be doing the ice bath and the sauna and stuff. And I love to do it, so it's not difficult for me. You know what I mean? But other people are like, man, why don't you just sleep in? I'm like, I don't like it, man. I like to get up. I like to do things. I like to be active. I like to talk to people. I like to get things done. You know, I don't like to just. That's one of the issues I have with owning the gym, man. Is a lot of my mates or people, they work during the day. So I'm like, once I'm done with my shit, I'm like, all right, like
who's coming out?
Yeah. Or if I don't have Ava, I'm like, fuck, what do I do now?
All right, one more topic before we wrap it up, because we got to get you to weigh-ins and things like that. But when it comes to mindset, in terms of like competing, from your first competitions, versus today, you know, how's your mindset sort of evolved? So like, obviously the first one, everybody's nervous, right?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, and I've done a lot of work on my mindset, man. I'll give you 2 examples in a second of what I base things off now. But definitely used to be a lot nervous, man. You focus on the result and you want to win and you want to do well. And a lot of the, like coming up through the ranks, man, you do care about what people think, and you want people to think you're good at jiu-jitsu, and you know, that usually comes with winning or whatnot. I don't think like that at all, man. I don't care. Like, it really doesn't bother me. Two pieces of advice I got, one from Kit Dale and one from Ash Williams. So Kit Dale, we're good friends who were coming up, and I remember we were at the Sydney Open, and, you know, we both won our divisions, and we're sitting there, and I was like, man, do you like ever get like nervous or whatever? And he was like, yeah, like you get nervous because you want to perform. But he's like, he turned to me, and I remember clearly, and he's like, this is going to hurt because I know how much you love jiu-jitsu, but this is a piece of advice, bro. No one gives a fuck about your jiu-jitsu. And I was like, what? He's like, no one cares, man. People care, like the people closest to you care about whether you're happy or whether you're sad. You're usually happy when you win and sad when you lose. They care about your feelings. They don't care about the result. He's like, when you stop thinking about that, you'll perform way better. You know what I mean? Like, let go. Like, don't worry about what anyone else fucking thinks or anyone else is doing, right? That stuck with me. So that's a good one, man. And then Ash Williams also said, you know, like, just because you lose a jiu-jitsu match doesn't mean you suck at jiu-jitsu. We could both be really good at jiu-jitsu, and one person wins and one person loses.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like you're bad at jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So like the result, yeah, obviously you want to win. That's clear. That's why we compete. But that doesn't also define you or your jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, you look at like ADCC, Cade versus Mika example. They're both fucking crazy good at jiu-jitsu. Cade got the better of him that day. Doesn't mean Mika's shit at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then you can go, oh, well, it's ADCC. It doesn't matter, man. You can take that through to your first white belt comp.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the guy that beat you at your first white belt comp is like a better person than you. He just had a better match, you know? And like, it happens all the time, man. So like, I think when you stop caring about what other people think outside of yourself, it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you can just start to do what you want to do. And like, bro, if I lose tomorrow night, I'll be sad. 100%. But I guarantee you one thing, I'll be in the gym on Sunday and I'll be in the gym on Monday. And if I win tomorrow night, I guarantee you one thing, I'll be in the gym on Sunday and I'll be in the gym on Monday. Because don't change, you know, don't change me as a person. It don't change. All it does is gives me an opportunity to grow as a person. Yeah. Learn if I lost or learn if I win. I don't like that saying
you win or you learn.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because you can learn when you win too.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, I don't do jiu-jitsu for other people's validation. And I think that's huge. And that's, you know, I haven't always been like that. You know, I definitely coming up, especially all the way up until black belt, I definitely wanted people to think I was good at jiu-jitsu and, you know, always pushing for that. But now I know I'm good at jiu-jitsu, and that's not being arrogant. Like, I know I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I've done it for 15 years. You know what I mean? I've rolled with some of the best guys in the world. You know, I've shared the mats with some of the best guys and females in the world. I know where I'm at. I know what skill I can. I know what my knowledge is. You know what I mean? I don't need someone's opinion that I don't know to validate me. Yep. You know what I mean? Whether it's on the internet, whether it's in person, whether it's they're yelling at me while I'm on the stage, has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with me and what I'm going through and what I'm challenging myself. I don't have to be here, man. Like, I make money not competing.
Yeah. You just run your gym.
Exactly. Yep. You know, and same thing. Adele, you know, she's making money right now, but she don't have to be here. She doesn't have to chase being the greatest women's competitor of all time. That's a choice. But it's her choice. It's not your choice. And it's not my choice. I'm not forcing her to do that. She's choosing to do that. So why would then you factor in anybody else's opinion that's not close to you or doesn't have your best interest in heart? Well, they're not helping you anyway. Makes no sense. I think once you let that go, which is easier to do, I think, the more experience you have. Yeah. But the more you try to do that, even if it's just one match, man, today I'm just going to go out there and just give it my all, not care, see what happens.
That's it.
Yeah. Start there and then build it up and build it up. Man, you see how Oliver Tarza, perfect example. Dude competes every week. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. Nobody thinks Tarza's shit at jiu-jitsu. But he loses just as much as he wins. But no one thinks he's shit. Yeah. Because no one cares. You know what I mean? They care about him, like, not in terms of him, but like, he's challenging himself all the time. Fuck, that's admirable, man. Yeah. Whether he's winning or losing, he's challenging himself all the time. So I try and look at it like that, man. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. All right. Well, sponsors you need to shout out.
Yep. Hopefully I don't forget any. Apologies if I do. So we got Scramble brand. We're launching an Australian website very, very soon. So look out for that. Got Gorilla Chiropractic, amazing, Dr. Ryan. Elite Sups in Belmont, look after my supplements. Black Magic Finger Tape, and then obviously Smart App. I was on their podcast earlier today, so that'll come out soon too. Really appreciate all those guys looking after me and making sure I'm healthy.
Yeah, beautiful. And if people want to find you, so obviously plug your Insta, and how do they sign up to your mentorship program?
Yeah, so just send me a message on my Insta. I think it's JakeOD_EssenceBJJ, but if you just search Jake O'Driscoll, I'll come up. Just send me a message. Mentor program's available for everyone all around the world. Also got a Patreon, that's $20 a month. I post a lot on there, guys, like 4 or 5 times a week. A lot of exclusive content. So check that out as well if you want to. But yeah, just send me a message. Also, not just for mentor or coaching and that too. If you guys, any mental health stuff, if you're struggling, send me a message. If you want to know more info about what I've been through or what I've done, send me a message. If you just want to reach out, send a message. Like I will respond, okay? Or if I can't help, I'll put you in touch with someone that can help.
All right, beautiful. Thanks, everyone.